Hey guys, Sean Hammond with Premier Guitar here, coming at you with another one of our Gear Spotlight videos. We've got Ryan from IK Multimedia. Ryan, how's it going?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thanks for having me here. We're very excited for this opportunity.
Yeah, we're both in our basement studios, or I don't know if yours is in the basement. Mine is. Still doing the quarantine action here. I think you're in Florida, right?
Yeah, and actually, as ironic as it is, I'm on the loft. So you're down below,
nice.
I'm all the way up on top.
It's probably hotter up there. Yeah, I'm in my basement here in Cedar Rapids, and you guys have a brand new interface called the Axe.io, right? You want to kind of tell us the gist of what that's all about, who it's aimed at, and some of the main features you guys are excited about?
Yeah. So you can see it on screen. This is actually a smaller version of the Axe.io. This is called the Axe.io Solo. Now, this is only 2 channels, and you have it's a premium audio interface designed for guitar players, and it's got a couple of unique features designed for the guitar player, such as you can see the Z-tone feature on the front, which is a variable impedance option, which will let you dial in for any kind of pickup that you're going to plug in, any kind of guitar, bass. You also have an active and passive control right next to that, so you can plug in any instrument and not worry about clipping your input. And you have a couple of other things like the JFET and Pure Switch, which gives you a nice different preamp section, which will let you get kind of a tube sound with the JFET and a pure, nice, crisp signal with the Pure. And
nice.
Lastly, the one really cool feature I love is the reamp. And man, it makes being in the studio so much easier as a guitar player. You can send your signal right back to your live amp. You can even play with it as you're tracking, so you don't have to worry about latency or being a studio guitar player too much.
Nice. Now that Z control you mentioned for different impedance, is it like a continuous control thing, or like a few different preset options, or?
So you can see it on the interface right here. And it goes from sharp to bold, and it's going to go from 1 mega ohm down to 2.2 kilo ohms, which, if you're not familiar, the 2.2 is familiar to vintage gear, more like stomp boxes. And then the 1 mega ohm is very similar to what you'll see on most audio interfaces. So you can control it and dial in the perfect sound for it. Depending on your guitar and depending on the tone you're using, you might want to change, pull back a little bit and warm up your signal, or dial it a little bit harsher. It's really good for making a Strat sound like a Les Paul or something like that.
And would you say that, like, I usually record my amps, not so much direct, so I'm less experienced with this type of stuff. Do you see people using this only if they're going direct and using like some of the amp plugins or anything, or just with any sort of arrangement?
Well, that's the cool thing, is it has really crystal clear preamps on the back with insane dynamic range. So if you don't like amp sims, or you don't use them right now, or you don't quite understand them, you can ease your way in and use just the reamp and that nice crystal clear preamp on the back. So it's a nice in-between for people. Just getting into it, or professionals.
Yeah. Now, it's a different hardware form factor than the previous Axe.io. Is the software and the plugins that come with it, are they different, or are they the same versions?
The cool thing is they're actually the same. They're the exact same versions that you get, so you get the full experience.
So when we came into the video, you were playing sort of a Marshall-esque AC/DC style, just straight ahead rock thing. What are some of for people who aren't familiar with what's the name of the software again?
So you get AmpliTube 4 Deluxe, and that's going to be our amp simulator, and we have all different tones from Marshall to Orange to Fender. So whether you're a metal guy, a country guy, or experimental, there's something for you in there.
Okay, Ryan, so can you just briefly go over some of the highlights of this version of AmpliTube for, what sorts of effects and amps and all that you can do?
So this actually comes with 140 pieces of gear, so you get a bunch of different stuff. You get a bunch of our older models from AmpliTube 3, revamped into AmpliTube 4, which gives you a new 3D cab room, lets you move the mic around not only left and right, but forward and backward to give a space and a room to the tone. You can change different rack effects, and you get a bunch of different stomp effects.
I imagine different mic simulations too, right?
Yes, you actually get a plethora of speaker models to change in your cabinet, along with the microphones that are going to be recording into those. And they all get summed into a nice little mixer with a room mic and pretty much anything you'd need to get a studio quality tone right in the box.
Okay, cool. Well, people love to hear different examples of things in these videos. It makes it more of an immersive three-dimensional experience. Are there some other sounds you want to show us? A few different things that might entice people to checking out the Axe.io Solo more?
Yeah, I actually wanted to walk through the Z-Tone and play you guys a live example of how the bold to the sharp goes. And cool. So let me switch over here so you guys can see my screen. Let's dial this over here. All right, so as you can see, I have AmpliTube 4, or I have Ableton Live 10 loaded, which it actually does come with the Axe.io Solo, so you're going to be able to do all of this in the box. I have routed it here to a virtual reamp, and that's what I'm calling it when I send my signal to AmpliTube. So I'm going to route my Axe.io Solo out to my virtual reamp here, and this is a Fender Super Reverb, so let's check that out. Let's check this out. All the way on the bold side, listen to how big it gets.
Nice.
Right? And let's crank that guy all the way back up so you can hear how much more harsh I can hit it. So nice little subtle combination there of the two right there is what I like. Right? And depending on the model that you have, you can actually hit the amplifier much differently. So let's crank this guy over here. And I'm going to load up from the classic brick collection, which comes with the model. Let's go to the Marshall Red Pig.
Red Pig, huh?
He's nice and hot. So, oh, yeah.
Nice.
So let's crank down our master here. You can see this is modeled with the AmpliTube name, but we do actually have a lot of cool stuff with the Marshall name on it. We did a Slash collection, which is really awesome. Yeah, this guy's actually...
Oh, like the Silver Jubilee stuff?
Yeah, both of his signature models, which is really cool. Now, this amp hits quite hard. There we go. Now that hits too hard with the Red Pig, so I would want to roll that back, right? That's a little bit too harsh for me. Right?
Sweet.
Let's go to a nice little variation in the tone, and let's check it out on a clean tone real quick, just so you guys can get a nice little idea. Now, I love the Fender right here, the Super Reverb. You can see I have a nice little extra
like a tube
pieces
screamer type effect there.
Yeah, that was that nice little rock tone in the beginning, which was funny because it was with the Fender, but you could do so much when you're in the box. Here's the cab section I was referring to earlier, where you can change your speaker model, you can change your mic, your room, and you can change the levels of everything. So check this out. Let's crank this guy back. All right, now let's hit it a little bit harder. A little bit out of tune, but one of the best parts about AmpliTube is you do have this nice little tuner here, which is nice and fun.
Oh, nice.
So you can see. One of the other features I really wanted to talk about was the reamp feature, which, if you guys aren't familiar, it does send a high Z signal out of this side of the box, and it is ground lifted, which is really cool if you have ever tried to send a line output to an amplifier. You get a nice little hum, and it's hard to control the signal. You could overpower your amp really easily. So this makes it nice and easy to do that without worrying about it. So that's what this whole deal is about. And what I've done in the box here, let me finish tuning, is I've routed out to an amplifier, and I'm picking it up with an SM57. I'm going to show how easy it is just to route that in the box.
So you have a pre-recorded bit of guitar, just direct, that you're going to reamp out to a real flesh and blood amp. Maybe not much flesh and blood, but it's that.
Essentially, I'm going to route my live guitar, which is right here. Now you can see it's routed to virtual reamp. Instead, I'm going to go to the external output. Now, before I do that, let's turn off my virtual reamp. And there we go. Now, 3 and 4 is our reamp, and that's all you have to do. Now we're going out to the amp. I can hear it in my room, but you guys can't hear it just yet until I turn on my mic. Now, it might be a little bit noisy. I don't have my air conditioner turned off or anything, which you might traditionally want to do when you record, but check this out.
Nice. So what sort of signal or sound do you have dialed up in the Axe IO? Just like a clean direct signal, or is there any sort of amp sim on that, or is it just direct and then sent out to?
The cool part is I've dialed him back in here, and it's a clean amp, but I wanted some reverb on it, so I threw one of our plugins, which is that's here at Sunset Sound, and it gives it a nice little bit of body that I wouldn't have traditionally with my amp. So I was able to blend the two worlds together, which I thought was really cool, especially as a guitar player who I didn't jump to go into the box. It took me a little bit to get here. And now that I could see all the different options, it just blows me away.
Now, what are some of the other features that you're excited about and feel like set this apart from the existing Axe IO?
So this wouldn't set it apart from the existing Axe IO, but I want to point out on the back of the unit, you can see here, there's external control inputs, which you can send an expression pedal, a sustain pedal, or anything that you'd like to control any of your plugins. You can control the wah pedal on AmpliTube just by buying a MIDI-compatible expression pedal.
Nice.
So that's really easy to just get straight control
now,
with your box.
A single CV input or a couple, or it's hard to tell on the...
There's two right here stacked, and they're both able to get double switches, single switches, or expression pedals with variable different scaling for the way that the controls do work. You can change the min and max values and get complete control over these things. So you have the ultimate control over AmpliTube right at your hands.
Anything else new for this iteration that you should let people know about to entice them?
One of my favorite things is the USB power aspect. If you notice, there's no power port on this guy like the traditional Axe IO. And because it's a little bit smaller with less features on it, less, the second input's not there, we're able to power it all through USB 2.0 high power or high speed. So this guy's super portable. I take him almost everywhere, and I don't have to worry about my guitar sounding, funky ever. I have a bunch of buddies with some really cool guitars. I bring this guy over with my laptop, and it's amazing. I can reamp it later at my house. We can go to the studio and reamp it later. You can just take it anywhere. Sweet. It's amazing.
So Ryan, people get all this stuff for $250 street or MSRP?
So that's going to be the price on our website right now.
Still,
so
that's
a
pretty sweet deal. And everyone's recording now, right? We don't have anything else to do. We're locked down and all that.
Oh yeah, it's nice and affordable. People who didn't think they'd be recording are recording right now. I have so many friends who were gigging. Now they're stuck at home, and they never thought they'd be in the box. And this helps them not completely feel like they're changing their entire world. They feel like they're more comfortable.
I think the companies that make recording gear are doing pretty damn good right now, all things considered. So, you want to tell people where to go online to find out more, and then maybe we'll have you play us out.
Cool, yeah. So go ahead. If you jump online, we're at ikmultimedia.com. If you go to /AxeIO Solo, you're going to find all the information you need. There's a nice little tab that'll tell you all about the different apps and the different stuff that you're going to get with
Now, I just want to thank everyone for joining us for one of these PG Gear Spotlight videos. Make sure you check out all the other stuff we do, rig rundowns, lessons, all that stuff. And we'll catch you next time. And Ryan, what are you going to play us out with before we go? What you got dialed up there?
I'm actually going to be playing through AmpliTube 4 right now. I'm going to be playing through the Fender Collection 2 Super Reverb, one of my favorite amps. It's got our new modeling. It sounds great. I'm just going to play a couple of chords for you guys. And thank you so much for having me. It was a blast talking to you. Awesome.